Hey guys, Paul here from FamilyWheels.ca with another car review for your growing family. And if you've been watching the show for the last few weeks, you may have noticed that we're on a little bit of a Honda kick right now. This is our third Honda in a row, and it's the 2016 Honda Accord. Not completely redesigned for 2016, but a refresh of the 9th generation Accord that's been with us since 2013. So things like an improved infotainment system, a nice new raft of safety features available to you, but pretty much the same vehicle. Now, the Accord's been with us since 1976, a really popular family choice as well. It's got that little bit more room in the back seat, Honda reliability, and that name badge that people look to for Honda quality. But the 9th generation Accord is now competing with the new Honda Civic that we reviewed last week on the program, which is a fantastic car. I was so impressed by it, so much so that it kind of reminds me of looking at the old Civic, like this old radio phone that I found in my office, compared to my much sleeker smartphone. It is just so much better in every way. It looks better. The interior refinement is better. It has better fuel efficiency. It's sportier. Everything across the board makes that new Civic better. So, can a not redesigned but refreshed Accord continue to compete with a vehicle like the Civic, which has gotten a little bit bigger and gives you more room in the back seat? Can this still be relevant? That's what we're going to look at today. Stick around, I'll tell you which one the new Accord is, coming right up. I always see the side views back. The Accord has more competition than ever for 2016 with the likes of the Toyota Camry, the Ford Fusion, the Mazda 6, Kia Optima, Hyundai Sonata, all offering some pretty solid vehicles. So what Honda's decided to do is up the ante with what you get in terms of standard features in the Accord. So for just over $24,000, you're going to be seeing things like heated seats, dual zone automatic climate control, a rear backup camera, LED running lights, LED tail lights. You've got Bluetooth connectivity and also Android and iPhone mirroring technology that will take what is on your smartphone and flash it right up on the infotainment system. Good for using the in-phone navigation system, checking emails, that sort of thing. Not bad for a price tag at just over 24 grand. And you're also getting a quieter cabin and what Honda says is a higher end interior. When you start to up the ante even more with the different trims that are available to you, it maxes out at the touring trim available with either a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder, and you can top out in the Accord with a touring trim and a V6 at just around $36,000. And when you start to get into these higher end trims, you're seeing things like the Honda Sensing package, which is basically their safety package, which includes everything from adaptive cruise control to lane keeping assist technology, where the vehicle will kind of steer for you and keep you in the lines of the road. You've got things like brake collision mitigation technology, and this really clever little camera over here as well in the side right mirror, where it will actually flash up what is in your blind spot on this right side and put it up here on the infotainment system. So some nice new technology for safety in some of the higher end trims of the Accord. And for about $36,000, you're getting a vehicle that has a top Safety Pick Plus rating from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, kitted out with leather and a really excellent sound system. It's not a bad package for that price. But even though Honda says that it has improved interior refinement on the Accord for 2016, I'm still finding that, there are cheap plastics around the glove box and the door frames, some cheap feeling switches here in the doors for controlling the windows as well. And the same goes for the heated seat controls down here. They just kind of feel cheap and clunky. And the same goes for the steering wheel too. The controls on the steering wheel kind of feel old school. We've got dual screen infotainment system here, and a lot of companies moving away from that now. It's much easier to have everything just on one screen. Now, in terms of how this car drives, well, you've got a couple of options available to you. First up is a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine, and then on some of the higher level trims, you have the option of a 3.5 liter V6. We have the 4-cylinder on board this tester here today, coupled up with a continuously variable transmission. When it comes to CVTs, this one's not bad, not too clunky, and the ride is fairly smooth. But you know, in terms of a sporty drive, not a lot of pizzazz here. If you want a little bit more excitement, or you want to avoid those continuously variable transmissions altogether because they're not for everyone, they can be a little bit clunky, then in the V6 you're obviously going to get a bit more oomph, and you're also going to have a more conventional 6-speed automatic transmission on board. I was expecting pretty good fuel economy here with this 4-cylinder because it is a smaller sized engine, and Honda claims that you should be seeing about 6.4 to 8.6 liters per 100 kilometers. That's about 33 to 44 miles per gallon, by the way, but I'm just not seeing that. I've got about 9.5 to 10 liters per 100 kilometers this week on a mix of highway and city driving, and that's just not that good for a 4-cylinder, even with a car of this size. If we put that in perspective, our Volvo station wagon, which is even bigger than this, with a V6 on board, and a turbocharged V6 for that matter, sees about the same fuel economy. So I'm just not blown away by that. One thing that's really important to people with a sedan of this size is that the second row feels spacious and comfortable, and the kind of place you'd be willing to stretch out and go for a long road trip. And I've actually had high hopes for the Accord in this respect, and it's fallen short for me. You can see I'm a tall guy, 6'2", and my hair is actually grazing the roof liner here, and my legroom is really limited as well. I've adjusted the driver's seat for a tall driver, but even still, it just feels tighter than I was expecting. It also doesn't feel particularly special or high-end back here, even in the touring trim. I've got cheap plastics around the center console, here in the door frame. One thing I do like though is the heated seats in the touring trim. We've also got some cup holders here in the center armrest. Now, another thing that's obviously going to be really important to people with a sedan of this size is trunk space, and that's something that's really good in the Accord. It's actually quite a huge trunk. You can see our standard amount of gear, a couple bags of groceries, a diaper bag, a backpack, stroller, and a soccer ball. Not a problem at all. We've still got room to spare. But it is a rather deep trunk, which means that if you want to try and use the whole space, let me throw the soccer ball back here, and then reach stuff back here, it can be a bit of a challenge. But one thing I do like about the Honda sedans these days is they've got this pull tab right here. So if I want to be able to fold those seats down and give myself a little bit more room for long items and passing them through the cabin, it's really easy to do with just one pull of that tab. But we've got a rear-facing child seat in the back seat right now, and those rear-facing child seats can also be a bit of an issue in terms of front leg room for families when those are in place. So what's that going to do for leg room up front? Well, I'm actually pretty impressed with the Accord here. We've got about 12.5, 13 inches of legroom up front here, and that means tons of room, lots of headroom, lots of legroom, not a problem at all. But if you do go with the touring trim, you're going to get leather seats as opposed to the cloth seats in the lower end trims, and these leather seats have those perforations that I've talked about before on the show. They're really tough to keep clean if you've got a spill. Families are in that second row. You can see the perforations are back there as well. If they're spilling something like, say, yogurt, which I've done here as an example, those holes fill up and can be a real challenge to clean. So something to keep in mind when it comes to choosing cloth or leather here in the Accord. Okay, listen, I know I'm being a little bit harsh here this week with the Accord, and maybe if I wasn't just coming off of a week in the new Civic and seeing just how good the company can be, I wouldn't be quite so harsh. But I've seen the future of Honda with that Civic, and it's so good. Yes, there are some features that you're going to find in both vehicles. The safety technology that you can get is available to you in both the Accord and the Civic for 2016. Same goes for some of the features available to you in the infotainment system. But it kind of feels like it's been slapped into an older vehicle. And that's exactly what's going on here, because the Accord hasn't been redesigned since 2013. So I'm kind of feeling like it's this, like if you're looking at the Accord, in my opinion, I would also strongly suggest that you take the Civic for a test drive. Compare the two, because the Civic's gotten a little bit bigger. And so the back space in the second row really isn't that much tighter. And we've also got better fuel economy, we've got better performance, we've got better looks, we've got better interior refinement at a much cheaper price. It's kind of a no-brainer in my opinion. But listen, I know the Accord has a very solid following here in North America. It's also made the top 10 list at Car and Driver's top picks a record 30 times. You can't argue with that. And it's also got that top safety pick plus rating from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. And then you stack on top of that all those new standard features available to you in the Accord for 2016. Still a lot of really good things about this Accord, but compared to that Civic, let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear what you think. You can leave a comment below. You can always find me on Twitter as well, @FamilyWheels. Check out the website, familywheels.ca, and we'll see you in about 7 days with the next review. But for now, I gotta take a call. Hello?